Okay, today we're going to introduce the last unit of the semester, comparison and contrast. To compare means to say how two things are similar. To contrast is to say how two things are different. So those are your two immediate strategies. Pick two nouns and either say how, hey, they seem kind of similar, but actually they're very different, or say that, hey, they look kind of different, but really they're very similar. So that's your general strategy. First introduce the two things you're comparing, then compare or contrast, and then conclude by telling your reader why this information could be important. So the main thing is, how do you do the middle part, the comparison and contrast? Well, here too, you have two main strategies. You can take each of these things, look at some aspects that they share, and compare point by point, or you can use one paragraph to talk about this, and then another paragraph to talk about that. So let's take a look at the first one, point by point. So in this example, the speed demon and the roadrunner are cars. And so the writer has chosen 3 points: cost of maintenance, performance, and comfort. These are 3 aspects of basically any car. And so on each point, the author is talking about first the roadrunner and then the speed demon. And so each point will be a paragraph. Cost of maintenance will be 1 paragraph. Performance will be 1 paragraph. And comfort will be 1 paragraph. Now, in this example, the main idea is that the speed demon is better. And that's why for each point, the author first talks about the roadrunner and then talks about the speed demon. Remember, in English, we like to put the emphasis last. So if you want to say that the speed demon is better, you would talk about it after the roadrunner to emphasize that point. So this is the first structure. The second possible structure is all of one, all of the other. So for the same topic, the speed demon is a better car than the roadrunner. You would spend 1 paragraph on the worst car, the roadrunner, and another paragraph on the better car, the speed demon. But it's not just 2 random paragraphs, right? You're trying to compare and contrast, which means there has to be some kind of connection. And the clearest kind of connection is if each paragraph talks about similar ideas. So for each car, each paragraph will talk about the same 3 aspects: cost of maintenance, performance, and comfort. So if you really look at it, these 2 structures are just inverted, right? Either you put the cars under the points, or you put the points under the cars. But the ideas are the same. It's just 2 different ways of organizing your comparison contrast essay. So then the question becomes, which structure should you choose? Well, usually I think it would be more clear if you go point by point. But sometimes the 2 things that you're comparing don't share all of the same points. In this case, you can use this structure to kind of brush over the details so that maybe you don't have to talk about every point. Maybe if you skip one point for one of the things, your reader may not notice. It's also a good idea to use this structure when the thing you're talking about is open to description, examples, storytelling, because in this structure, you have more space to give a full picture of each thing. So if you have like stories, if you feel like each thing needs to be described in detail, this could be a good structure to try. But if you're just very analytical, focused on the point-by-point comparison, then you should also consider using the first structure, point by point. So for this essay, you don't have to choose a thing. Your topic can be similar to the exposition essay. If you remember, I said that for that essay, you can choose a person, place, thing, idea, activity, event, process, phenomenon, situation, any kind of noun. And same thing here, any two nouns. You might be surprised at how any two things can be compared. Literally any two things. In fact, why don't we try it right now? Give me two nouns. Okay, give me one noun. Cars and coffee. Let's compare cars and coffee. So first off, both are things. Okay, so these two obviously seem quite different. So for this essay, you might want to begin with that fact. For example, you may not think that there's anything similar between cars and coffee. But today I want to tell you about some surprising similarities. First of all, both are uh, hmm, both are a kind of um, hmm, both are necessary ingredients for a suburban office worker. So if you live in the suburbs and you have to wake up early every morning to get to work, you will probably need both objects. Coffee to get you up in the morning and the car to get you to the office. Secondly, both can have surprisingly harmful effects. Coffee addiction is arguably the most widespread form of chemical addiction in the Western world, whereas cars, despite their many benefits, also cause disproportionate harm to the environment, especially if you're driving gasoline cars. But even if you drive an electric car, the electricity is often powered by dirty power plants. And finally, both objects can be more expensive than you expect. Coffee may look cheap when you buy just one cup, but if you buy one cup every day for 300 days a year for 30 years, that money adds up. Similarly, when you go buy a car, maybe you're only thinking about the price tag, but perhaps you have forgotten to think about maintenance costs, which are legally mandated. You maybe have forgotten about fuel tax. You may have forgotten about registration fees. And so both of these objects can end up eating into your bank account more than you expect. So even though cars and coffee might seem like two completely different things, they still have some similarities that are worth thinking about. so that next time you buy a cup of coffee or you consider getting a new car, make sure you consider all of the relevant factors. Boom, that's an essay. So you can literally compare anything. You just have to think about it. Of course, if you don't want to think too hard, you can take two similar things and then talk about how they are different. Questions? So comparison contrast is a kind of exposition. So the important thing is the information, but you should also include um, like emotional narrative details to help us feel your point and remember your point. And you should also put yourself into the essay, connect it with your own life, your own experience, so that we feel like it's worth reading your essay and not somebody else's essay or AI's essay. Speaking of AI, did I talk about this last time? So like, if you feel like AI may not be giving you accurate grammar and spelling corrections, here are some things you can try. You can try starting a new dialogue, open a new chat, because sometimes AI will adjust itself to your habits. So you can start fresh. You can also, if you're using ChatGPT, you can also open a temporary chat and it will remember nothing after you close the window. This is also good if you're worried about privacy. OpenAI says that it does not train ChatGPT on your dialogues immediately. But I think like after 30 days or something, your chats will be added to a database and later on AI may use it for training. So if you're worried about your privacy, you can use a temporary chat so that it remembers nothing. That's what I do. And finally, like in this class, I say like use AI to help with your grammar and spelling, but not for drafting, not for writing, not for the ideas. And this is mainly because you might think, oh, I can just have AI generate an essay and then I'll add some stuff and make it more human. But writing isn't just about the content that you put into the essay. The ideas of the essay are expressed using the words of the essay. You can't separate them. So even if you add stuff to the AI generated essay, the original words are still written by AI. Even though you might say, oh, I agree with those ideas, or even I gave AI those ideas. But the way that it uses words to express those ideas mean that they are no longer your ideas. They now belong to AI. So I know that sometimes when you're reading like the AI generated stuff, you might feel like, wow, it has such great English. I could never compare with that. And it's probably true it would be hard to compare your grammar and spelling with AI output. But the grammar and spelling can be fixed. The choice of words, the word order, the emphasis on expression, those can't be fixed. So again, please try to write your first draft yourself. And then after you're sure that you have said what you want to say, then you can ask AI to correct your grammar and spelling. Okay, so that's it. Questions about this unit? No, you're stretching. Okay. So next week, okay, so by the end of today, you're supposed to upload your cause effect draft 2. I will spend 1 week marking it. And so next week, we're going to talk about your cause effect essays. Then there will also be a final exam sometime later. And oh, right. So I'm also doing some research related to AI and teaching writing. So later on in the semester, I will ask you to fill out a survey about how you use ChatGPT in this class. Um, please help me out. I only have like 25 students in this class. It's already very like low quantities of data. So uh, when the survey comes out, please take a few minutes to help fill it out in detail. I want to learn exactly how you're using AI in this class. And don't worry about if it will affect your grade because it will be entirely anonymous. I will have no idea who is saying what. So please be honest. Okay, for the rest of today, when you have some thoughts about what you want to write for your comparison contrast essay, please come talk to me. And you can spend the rest of this time thinking about that, working on your cause effect essay. Or if you have not yet submitted your exposition final draft, you can keep working on that.